as we getting this is how the Spirit of the Lord work.
Yeah.
As we getting the show started, as we getting everything, we cooking up everything. The Lord said, you know what, my son?
Here you go.
I see you've been in the Spirit.
Yeah.
Let me drop this nugget on you one time. Can you pull up the Jeezy? Y'all heard Jeezy was happily married.
Happily married.
He was happily married, right?
Just had a baby.
Just had a baby.
Yep.
Taking pictures on the whole parade. With his little Moabite spouse.
He stopped trapping.
Stopped trapping.
He stopped
trapping.
He ain't trapping no more.
Look like a black monk.
Look like a black. You put him up there. Put him up.
Look like
Let
he
me
about
know
to
when
do. He about to do some wushu.
Now and all of a sudden,
Trouble in paradise.
read that for me, Sobes.
Jeezy files for divorce from Jeannie Mae after 2 years of marriage.
You see this? This is what happens a lot in the black community. Now we know, according to the scriptures.
Damn.
Look,
got his
damn.
toes
Hold
out.
on, put his toes, bro. That's what happens. But play it again,
He
bro.
went from trapping to having his toes out.
This is what happened when you marry outside your race. This is what happened when you marry outside your race. This is what happened when you marry outside your race. All the black women you deal with, and you run to the other nation.
Bring it out. That's what that shit. Right?
Because black women have not been groomed to serve, have not seen an example of being a wife. Because black women have not been groomed to serve, have not seen an example of being a wife. They grew up bringing a plate, rubbing other feet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of us ain't never had our wives make us a bubble bath.
Right.
This is what happened when you marry outside your race.
Yes.
All the praises and the honor goes to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha Ha Kodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren. Shalom to you, few sisters, and shalom to the hopefully elect. Peace to you. I want to touch on this video here, and Lord's will, it would be edifying by the time I finished. This is from the IUIC Kansas City, Fix Your Face Fridays, Unholy Matrimony. Right? So what you saw in the intro is this woman, Jeannie Mae Jenkins, who had a divorce, who got a divorce from young Jeezy because something rumored something that she said about black people or how to keep a black man or whatever, and he got offended. But if she repented, he doesn't know the truth. But I just wanted to go on the lack of spirituality that this group has. I don't know if this is strictly for entertainment purposes with the horns and the lights and the flashing. I don't know if this is possibly selling out their own manhood to women to captivate an audience of women, to show the women that, look, we are the righteous men of the Lord, right? By calling us rapists. I don't know. It's a lot that they do to steal the sisters' money, right? And all the divorces and all the wickedness that went on in that camp should show you something. So anyway, I wanted to touch on that because this woman, Jeannie Mae, going to her ethnicity, you can't always go in the flesh either way. Her mother's Vietnamese, her father is Vietnamese and Chinese, right? They always use the mother first, but he's also basically Vietnamese too, I guess. But he's Vietnamese, Chinese, and her mother is Vietnamese. So you come from the father. That's it. Now, there's people who look Chinese that are still our people. So I don't want to harp the fact that what she looks like. She has the ability in some pictures to look like more of a Vietnamese ethnicity, but then in some pictures she looks like the so-called light-skinned black woman, and in some pictures she almost looks like an Hispanic woman, right? So you got to understand when you do the history of the Vietnamese and what happened during the war, and even before the war, and the times that, even to this day, the passport bros are going over there and having children. The passport bros, that's nothing really new because you had white men doing it. In fact, Israelite-looking white men was doing it. You had so-called black men was doing it. My own biological brother is doing it. And he's been overseas since the 80s, right? My own biological brother, okay? So along with several other so-called black men. So we can't look at this situation for the sake of an audience, for the sake of appeasing black woman and saying this is an unholy matrimony. In fact, when you look at America today, it's all BS. It's all full of lies. What Nahum 3:1 say? I don't even have it up, but I read it so many times. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. And when you're going down to the 4th verse, it says it basically got the spirit of witchcraft, right? So that witchcraft is a belief like in a matrix or a simulation, which is a false reality, that everything is righteous, but it's not. Look at Steph Curry, right? His parents, after 30 years, is getting a divorce. Wait a minute, what do you got to say about that? What about Lawrence Fishburne? Lawrence Fishburne, Gina, I think her name is, I'm not sure. She's caught kissing a white man. She leaves him and go to a white man. Why no videos on that? Telling the sisters, hey, this is not a behavior. Now, that white man may not be white. See, that's where it gets confusing to you guys. And now Lawrence Fishburne is with a white woman. You see that? It's enough that Jake is oppressed in himself, even in relationships and family and life. But it's another thing for these converted Christians into Israelites to further, to further destroy the so-called black man's reputation, right, for the gain of women. See, that's another thing. And Jeezy's not in the truth, nor is this woman in the truth. But I understand what they're saying for the sake of the argument. This is what happened. But they're all heathens, right? And you can make that argument. But what about the black woman? It's the same thing in general. And really, what you should be saying is all of this around you is a lie. All of it is robbery, right? What happened to Sugar Shane Mosley? What happened to his wife who took his belts, right? What happened to Tom Brady? Every time you look on the news, some of these marriages are arranged anyway, but every time you look each day, it's a new divorce. And it has nothing to do with black or white, but it has everything to do with the lies and robbery going on in Babylon. This video was not necessary. The only necessary, and I'm not a great fan of Jeezy or Jeannie Ma. They're not my favorite, stars of the world or Hollywood stars or whatever you want to call it. Not at all. I'm just saying to make a video and use the entertainment, right, with the horns and the glamour and the lights flashing, right, to make an example of a Jake who tried to find some goddamn happiness, which he ain't gonna find in America. He should have took her ass back to her own country. He would have been better off. But that's what they do. They use situations and they ain't even got their own house in order. Let's get some scripture. St. John 6:63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. So it's not about the flesh. The flesh don't profit anything. This woman could even look more Chinese if that's the case. You still can't prove that unless it's about a spiritual thing. And this proves that this group is more so about the physical, carnal matter, about the laws, but it's not about faith with them, right? It's all about the laws. But remember, though, you had wicked Pharisees back then that was pushing the law, right? High priest and wicked Jake, they was all about pushing the law. Well, what do you think Yahushua came for? To bridge us between that law through faith and to follow the first commandment, was love the Lord with all our heart and soul and strength, which means any laws that you can keep, you're going to keep them to the best of your ability. And then they say you can only have one wife, right? But what about the laws? They agreed that you can do that, but they claim that you in captivity, you can't do it, which, that proves you can't keep the laws. I don't know. This is out of hand with this group, man. They come up with more and more gimmicks, right? And then all the women on the side of the comment board flashing, and they will joke of a Jake, man. They would just joke Jake. Again, that's 2/3. I don't give a damn about Jeezy. This is the problem I'm having with this whole situation, with this group, right? Is they're not spiritual. They're not faith-based, and they're not spiritual. They're not hitting the points dead on, right? And there's nothing wrong with it messing with a woman of a nation. What about Ruth? The Moabitess. Probably should have been the book of Boaz. To prove that it was Ruth, and you can look at the videos, we've done it on that, but I'm going to just touch on that for a second. To prove that it was Ruth was a Moabitess, because Naomi, if I can remember, Naomi, after she had the baby, Naomi took the child and nursed it. Now, where's that in the Israelite heritage? That you have a baby and some other nation come take your damn baby. Right? So this proves that Ruth had to be a Moabite, and Naomi took the child. So what was the problem? There was no issue. The only issue that Jeezy had and Jeannie Mai had is getting married in this society and being in Hollywood. Those are the issues. Not the only issue, but those are the issues. All right, let's go to Hosea 1 and 10. I'm going to read it in the NIV. Yet the Israelites will be like the sand of the seashore, which cannot be measured or counted. Right? Meaning we'll be all over. You can count a Negro. Right? You can almost count a Vietnamese. They already got the polls on them. Well, you have 2 trillion people in China and 1 trillion, they already have that up on polls on what you call statistics, census, on who's who. But you can't measure the children of Israel. We all over. We like the sand of the sea, man. You can't measure us. Right? Let's go a little bit of Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number. So if this the case, right? I'll say it quick like this. If this man Jeezy, if it was wrong for him to marry a heathen woman, let's say she's a heathen woman, and they got divorced, then why doesn't it work when he married a black woman, or when a black Israelite, so-called black Israelite, marry another so-called black woman? When a so-called black man marry a black woman. You know there's divorce in the Bible too, because you can be in the truth and wind up in divorce, especially in this society. So why did we even go down that road? Is my whole point. This isn't about Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. This is them making an examples, right? They're making an examples to appease an audience of women. And any of you sisters who follow this know it's all a game. Because at the end of the day, if you want a real man of the Lord, you will get him. The Lord will bring you to a real man, right? And then it will work because you know how to play your position as a woman. That's all you need to do the video on. He could have made that example, but the example I would have made with that couple and what happened there is that's Hollywood and the bloody city that's all full of lies and robbery. It's all fake. That's what I would have said. Not just in that relationship, but all of them. Again, look at Tom Brady. What happened there? Michael Jordan had a black woman. What happened there? Because he wore sandals? The culture of Babylon is screwed up anyway. There's men walking around with pants hanging off their ass, man. The culture of Babylon is Eve wearing things jacked up herself, man. The culture of Jake in Babylon is evil. The whole culture of not just Jake, everybody. It's all wicked. It's all full of lies and robbery. It's all spoiled. So we can't make no examples out of that. No matter how you look at it. Revelation 7 and 9. Which no man could number of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues. Tongues with an S. And they'll just say it's all black people that scattered abroad that look like black people. That's a black-only Israelite doctrine, by the way. I heard IUIC say the Israelites is not about black because the Israelites, some are going to look almost white too. Well, wait a minute. Did you see this woman? How you know that's a heathen? In fact, if she is an Israelite, she's still considered a heathen because she's not in the truth. Anyway, Revelation 7 and 9, let's look up the word kindreds. G5443, phile. In the New Testament, persons descending from one of the 12 tribes of the patriarch of Jacob, not black. Now, I guarantee you if this woman was African, what would they say then? They would probably say that's what happened when you mess with another nation. But how do you know if that woman was from Africa that she would be, and I'm talking about almost looking like Cush. Some of them, you can almost look like a Cushite and still be an Israelite. Yeah, that's possible too. So that you can see them making a separation of nationalities between looks. And that's not always the case. But either way, what would you take your chances with, man? If you were 2/3 in this world, would you take your chance? First of all, if they're trying to fix or wake up a nation, they should be getting on Eve. I understand you got to get the heads, the men, but you got to get Jake in order. But is Jeezy supposed to marry Glorilla or Sexy Red or Lil' Kim? Or your regular, your regular woman that goes after the stars, right? Which always winds up in divorce anyway. Just making that point, man. Sometimes Jake will do anything for the views and for the entertainment. Oh, and for the end of this, for the sake of this video, look at this picture of young Jeezy and Jeannie Mai's child. Do you say this baby looks so-called black or this baby look Asian? That's all I have on that. Shalom.